Hello, welcome to another episode of Namtaro Talks. First of all, I would like to say that I am very content to have had this opportunity to begin this series because, first of all, truth be told, growing up, I was not always the best speaker. Yeah, I understand that sometimes I mumble, sometimes I stutter, sometimes I had difficulty getting my points across. And not to mention, public speaking was an issue at some points. But I guess I got to a point where I'm confident enough to put together a little show like this. Okay, not really a show, but it's more cathartic, if anything, kind of a testament or kind of like testing myself, see what I'm capable of regarding just extemporaneously talking. There you go. You learned a new word today, didn't you? Another reason that I am grateful for these talks is because I'm in a fortunate position to do so. It kind of plays into my work-life balance that I have the time and the opportunity to do these talks. Well, at least for now, anyways, before I get more responsibilities in the future. Also, the nature of my job, I'll be honest, is not really isolating because I still interact with people, but yeah, it's no secret. I'm in the healthcare field and I interact with patients every day. And of course, we do have niceties and like how you're doing and whatnot. But I still keep it professional. I still make their health my priority. So I don't always have talks, quote unquote, with them. And I mean, I can only talk so much with my wife and my friends and family whenever I see them, and you can only do so much through texting and messaging. So I guess another reason I do these talks is it's like if you don't see me in real life, and you can at least listen to my voice or you can hear my takes on certain topics and subjects. Yeah, I know everyone has an opinion. Everyone wants to say something, and in this time and age with the technology and the social media, it feels super easy to kind of just broadcast whatever you want to say on your platform. But the way I do it is more calculated and more personal, maybe more free in a way. Like I said in previous episodes, I'm not doing this for money, I'm not doing this for attention. I'm doing this just because I want to and because I can and because I have the capacity to do so for now. Well, anyways, yeah, I didn't mean to get a bit long-winded right there. Today's topic will be, I guess, old black and white movies, or namely, a recent movie I saw called The Bad Seed. Yeah, I don't know how much detail or how much plot reveals I will go regarding the movie, so I'll just put a spoiler warning, quote unquote, right here for The Bad Seed. Well, I don't know how I came across this movie. I remember, I think we were on vacation and somehow we came across the black and white channel, and I did not watch the whole movie per se. I mean, you're not gonna watch the entire movie while you're on vacation, but I think we were just relaxing towards the end of the day and just chilling, see what's on TV. And I caught about the last 15, 20 minutes of The Bad Seed. Okay, so long story short, it's about a couple and they have a daughter, and the daughter seems nice and proper, but deep down, certain incidents happen surrounding their environment and it begins to affect people. And then the surrounding adults, they talk about nature versus nurture and the capacity and aptitude for evil and psychopathy. And the mother begins to suspect that the daughter is capable of such thoughts and feelings and heinous acts that are surrounding them. But the daughter, she puts up a really good front. Yeah, there's many other surrounding characters. Like, I'm not sure it was an aunt or a landlord that lived upstairs, but she's always interacting with the mother. Not to mention the parents of the boy in the daughter's class who died. They came over to talk with the mother, and that boy's mother was grieving all the time. And the girl's father was away on a business trip or some kind of government or military trip, so he was a bit oblivious to this. And then her grandfather came to visit, but then there was like a revelation from the grandfather to the mother, and the daughter wasn't there. And let's say it's regarding nature versus nurture. And of course, towards the end, the mother, she comes to terms, comes to the truth. She's very aggrieved and upset of what the true nature of her daughter, and she tries to take matters into her own hands, but it doesn't turn out the way she wants. I really do like this movie because, long story short, it's pretty simple. Okay, not just because it's an old movie or it's in black and white, but the characters, they're all there, and each of them play a specific role and have a specific personality. Yeah, you have the daughter who, okay, I think she was like 8 years old, and she's played by the actress Patty McCormick, but she played that role very well. She was like nice and put up a front with an adult and showed lack of emotion at times and knows how to feign upsetness or misery or sorrow. She knows how to convey those emotions even though she does not inherently feel them herself. And the mother is as loving and as caring and understanding as possible. And then she has her own social circles, but she tries to figure out, well, learn about the goings on in the world and what's going on in the field of psychology. She has a couple of psychologist friends, and of course the upstairs neighbor who's a bit older, and they call her aunt. And then she's always like a bit more talkative and also inserts her opinions here and there. But the mother, she is pretty smart. She begins to put two and two together and figure things out, but also try to be as sympathetic as possible to her daughter and to the parents of the boy who died in the daughter's class, while not fully confirming or accusing the daughter of stuff like that. Oh yeah, and the groundskeeper, that was a very interesting character too, because he was very wacky and very suspicious and very astute, and he came on to what that 8-year-old girl is up to. Like the daughter, she thinks she is smart. She thinks that she can get away with it, that no one will ever catch on to her. However, the groundskeeper is one of the first few people who catch on to her. The movie is very simple in its setting. The setting is really just that family's house. Okay, yeah, I keep saying the daughter, or her name is Rhoda. Yeah. So it's like with Rhoda and her mom and her dad and her landlord and I guess of the groundskeeper who lives there. So it's just like inside the house and then outside in the backyard and Rhoda's school and the field where the school had an event and maybe her dad's office. Yeah, so that's pretty much all the settings of the movie, really. So they just like go back and forth, and they make the use of every room, every scene to the maximum. Like the characters, like they move here and there, they're doing this and that. I think that simplicity is one aspect that I like. I don't know about other black and white movies, but at least this movie, it gets the point across, it gets the job done. It's like, okay, this is the plot, these are the characters, this is how we go along with the plot, this is how we build suspense. Oh, not to mention the music, it comes in and out at the right time. So in a way, the movie, it doesn't really dumb itself down for you, and unfortunately the version I saw, it didn't have subtitles, so I had to listen. But I mean, it makes you work hard enough. I mean, I know there are movies that you want to turn your brain off to, and movies that really make you think and question. But this movie, it was a thriller. It was a mystery. It was suspense. Okay, a mystery as in like who really did it, or how will she get away with it, or like if she does get away with it, how does it happen, or how close do they get into finding out? One thing I also like about the movie is that it had a lot of what I call implications. There are not a lot of scenes that are explicitly shown or explicitly told. Like the guy, like the boy in Rhoda's class, he dies, but they say Rhoda was nearby. Maybe she was involved, maybe she isn't. Does she have a good alibi? Was she responsible? Does she have a motive? Does she have capacity to do whatever insidious acts there are? And the dead boy's mother, like, does she have enough evidence to accuse Rhoda's mom or Rhoda of like doing what they think she did? So there's like civility between all of the characters. They don't go out just accusing or being extreme and pointing fingers and make random declarations. And it's refreshing because the dialogue, it was fluid. It flowed one through another. It was very conversational. It's not just one-liners or quips. And at certain parts, like Like they know which parts are heartwarming, they know which parts are serious, they know which parts are dramatic, they know which parts are tearjerkers. I am not saying that all old movies and all black and white movies are like this or that they are better, but they are different, you know? Such it's kind of easy to compare and contrast as compared to today's blockbusters and movies that are in theaters with huge budgets. I don't know what the budget for the Bad Seed movie from the 1950s was. I'm guessing it had to be at maybe around $1 million. I wouldn't be surprised if it was less. I don't know what it would be for inflation, but it's a stark contrast as compared to the movies in theaters nowadays, where with budgets of not even tens of millions anymore, at least hundreds of millions for sure, because they go big or go home, and they gotta cast big names and have lots of CGI and action sequences and have big names, not just for the actors and actresses, but also the directors and the producers. It's like the movies had to be a giant experience or a spectacle, you know, or it's kind of follows certain tropes or follows certain typecasts. Sometimes it makes you kind of groan, like, ugh, this again. I mean, you appreciate it for what it is. You appreciate the time and effort put into it. But a simple movie like The Bad Seed, which its simplicity and the nature of its dialogue and its actors and actresses, that conveys like entertainment and emotion and thrills and suspense and it makes you think a little bit. I mean, it was done well with much more efficiently, you know, without all the resources that would be required to make a movie nowadays. And I know that there are many good thrillers and suspense movies made nowadays, and not to mention like I call it crazy kid movies, like Old Orphan. Yeah, I never saw Orphan, but I saw many scenes from it. But we're talking about what they had to work with back in the day, you know, the technology that they had, and they were able to put something together like The Bad Seed. And a fun fact, The Bad Seed was originally a book, then they adapted it to a play. And apparently they adapted that play into the movie that I saw, the one from the 1950s. But apparently the theme or the I guess the tone of the movie back in the day, that the sensibilities were slightly different. They had to have disclaimers at the beginning of the movie, like, oh, this like the ending of this movie does not represent the studio or whatnot. And the tone of the movie was honestly, it was pretty dark. So they have to end the movie where the cast comes out and they put like the names and the characters of each actors and actresses, like a sitcom theme song. And there was like a friendly little sequence at the end where when Patty McCormick, like the actress who played Rhoda, she gets playfully spanked by the mother actress, you know, like, oh, you've been such a bad girl. They had to had a sequence like that to lighten the mood. And of course, if there is a relatively successful work from the past, they had to do a remake of it. I watched scenes and read the plot summaries of the Bad Seed remake. I think it was on like Hallmark or Lifetime movie channels or something. Yeah, the remake was made in 2018, and with the sequel, wow, made in 2022. And honestly, I watched scenes of it. It was boring and predictable. Like they literally did not add much, and the only things that were slightly different was, I guess, the girl character was slightly older and the context was slightly different. But the parent characters in the original movie, they were more thoughtful and introspective, and you could really see what's going on in their mind, and they voice it out loud in an articulate way. In the remakes, the characters, they're like doofuses. They just react, or they just like, huh? What's going on? Huh? They don't. They're pretty blind to all of the quote unquote bad seed child's intentions, you know. And there's always these camera pans and where she just like stares into the camera, trying to look all evil and have an insidious smile. I'm like, okay, I get it. I know you're bad. I mean, it's in the title. You don't have to. Honestly, it's a lot of hand holding and showing. Like, they actually showed the scene, or as close as possible, of the inclination where the little boy dies at the girl character's hand. In the original, they didn't show it. They just talked about it. They just referenced it. They just inferred it. But that was enough. It made us a kind of wonder. Like there was nothing really graphic or extreme in the original movie as compared to the remake and movies of a similar nature. Yeah, like in the 1950s movie, yeah, one of the characters, like, they were trapped in the burning building and they were burned alive. But in the remake, they show the burning building more and they show that character getting burned more. It's like sometimes when you think something is happening, it's like a different effect on you as opposed to just seeing it happen in front of your own eyes. Well, if anything for a movie, anyways, not necessarily for like real life situations. But yeah, so the implication, it was enough. The hinting of it was enough, as opposed to being shown, oh, this is what's happening. Do you see it? Do you see it? It's right in your face. Oh, she's bad. She's evil. Like, no. It's more fun or interesting to figure things out as a moviegoer or as a consumer, You don't need to be spoon-fed or force-fed everything. Well, I've been talking about the bad seed quite a bit, but I haven't forgotten about the other topic I wanted to address in this talk, which is black and white movies or older movies of the sort. Yeah, I only wanted to talk about this because I was surprised myself that I wanted to watch or rewatch The Bad Seed because I saw it years ago. I don't remember how long ago, but it just stuck with me, and I was, oh my god, I gotta rewatch this again. I gotta get the whole context. I mean, it's one of those situations where you know what's gonna happen, you know what's going on, but you still want to experience the full context of it. You want to see the full lead up to it, all the little nuances. Like in one of my previous episodes, Carrie. Like, I know how Carrie ends. I know what's gonna happen to it, but I never got the full context. I never knew all the implications and all the surrounding characters, all the surrounding plots, and why she's like that. So sometimes it's refreshing to just revisit and experience the whole story or movie, Because The Bad Seed was one of two black and white movies that I've been meaning to rewatch. The second one is called All About Eve. Yeah, I remember seeing that when, I'm guessing I was in 11th grade. It was during a summer, and one of the movie theaters downtown had old movie night, and they were featuring that. And my friends and I were like, oh, okay, let's go check it out. And I remember it was like a thriller because long story short, it's pretty much about this actress, and she tries to find her way up through Hollywood and stardom and celebrity status and whatnot, but she kind of loses herself along the way, and she begins to slowly deteriorate and find out what she's giving up and what she's lost for all the newfound fame. That's another reason I need to rewatch it, because it's been almost like 20 years since I watched it. But it's sometimes like a movie, the feeling, it sticks with you, You can, even though you watched it or watched part of it years ago, the context was still there. The feeling is still there. You still want to figure it out and discover it all years later. You just gotta have the initiative and dedication to just sit down and do so. I mean, I could just easily read the plot summary of All About Eve, but it does not, it doesn't anywhere compare to watching it again, watching the real thing. And two black and white movies that I watched in the past. And okay, long story short, a lot of these black and white movies I should rewatch again sometime, because when I saw it years ago, I mean, I was too young to appreciate it. Well, by young as in, I don't know, as a teenager or early 20s. But now with a better newfound understanding and appreciation for all that went into it, yeah, it'll be interesting to rewatch it in a different lens. Yeah, for some reason, I don't know how my family got this three movie pack. I forgot, it was a VHS pack or a DVD pack of 3 Audrey Hepburn movies. Oh, Audrey Hepburn. Now that's an actress. Now she's cool. Yeah, the 3 movies were Sabrina, Breakfast at Tiffany's, though that wasn't black and white, and Roman Holiday. Yeah, Roman Holiday was the oldest of the 3. And yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna spoil too much of either of these movies because I don't remember much about it. Yeah, Roman Holiday is like, I think she was some kind of princess or aristocrat, and she tried to get away for a little bit, and she meets up with this guy, and they go around Rome and they hang out and stuff. I don't remember much about Breakfast at Tiffany's. I just know that they're in the rain and there's a cat at the end. That's it. And there's always that iconic scene when she's in that black dress, wearing the pearls, and with her hair done, and looking in the mirror at something. I think like a diamond ring or something at Tiffany's, the jewelry store. And she's holding that long cigarette and that iconic image that's everywhere, really. And Sabrina, that is an interesting plot because I think that one was about Audrey Hepburn's character. Her dad was a chauffeur and for some aristocrats or some rich people, and she is into one of the brothers, like, and admires him from afar. But somehow, like the other brother, she gets to know him more, gets more involved with him somehow. And the interesting is they remade Breakfast of Tiffany's many years later in the 90s, and one of the brother characters was played by Harrison Ford. Now, I gotta rewatch both of those. An Audrey Hepburn movie that was not in the pack, but yeah, the nature of my work, I go to different people's homes, and sometimes I go to skilled nursing, or no, assisted livings. And for some reason, they were playing this movie called Charade with Audrey Hepburn, and I have no idea what it's about, but I think I remember a couple plot points, went home, looked it up, and now it's on my list for like the past couple years. So I gotta sit my butt down and watch that someday. Yeah, I watched like a bunch of random black and white movies in the past in various different contexts. I watched The Quiet American, where it's about, I don't know if he was a soldier or a journalist, but I just remember it took place in Vietnam, and then he was an older American guy, and then he met a younger American guy, and I guess they got too involved into something, and like one of them dies. Oh, spoiler alert. But there was a remake of that also many years later, and one of the characters was played by Michael Caine. Oh, Michael Caine, who plays Alfred the Butler in the Batman movies. And there's also Mr. Smith Goes to Washington, though I'm not sure why he went to Washington. I think it was to protest some kind of bill or law or advocate for something. I just remember I saw that in my 8th grade U.S. history class. Funny thing is, that class was where I learned the most about government, really. Of course, there is the old To Kill the Mockingbird movie. I saw that in 9th grade after we read To Kill a Mockingbird. But that's the thing about watching movies in high school back then, because one, it's on a little TV screen, and the TV screen's right in front of the room or in the corner, and there's not really subtitles, and the TV is only so loud, so you can't really watch anything. And if you're seated in the back, good luck. Yeah, you're not going to be able to appreciate or even comprehend that movie. So that's another one to rewatch, because I really like the book, To Kill a Mockingbird. And Gregory Peck as Atticus Finch, and they got a lot of rave reviews and accolades for that. So I gotta see what it's all about. I guess another fun movie to throw into the mix that kind of falls into this category is The Wizard of Oz. Well, technically it was a black and white movie at the beginning of the movie. Yeah, I mean, the story is simple. It's a classic story. And I really liked it, though I wouldn't mind watching it again, because I watched Wicked, the movie, and then I read Wicked, the book, and I know both are completely different from the original Wizard of Oz story. But it's always fun to like make comparisons, you know? Yeah, two black and white classic movies that I haven't watched, but I know are highly acclaimed and on near the top of many movie lists are Citizen Kane and Gone with the Wind. So if I ever have the motivation to sit down and see what it's all about, I'll watch those. But I'm not in a rush to watch those movies anytime soon. Well, long story short, yeah, I like the bad seed. I appreciate the simplicity and I guess classiness of old movies, you know. It's interesting. Every year I get a different hobby. Sometimes a new one, sometimes it's revisiting an old one. And I've had phases where I watch movies. And honestly, the current state of movies, or new movies anyways, it's not the best. It doesn't impress me as much. I mean, I could probably do more due diligence and look for new good movies, but I have a list of old movies to watch, and by old, I mean even just from like a decade or two ago, or honestly any decade, 2010s, 2000s, 90s, 80s. I guess The Bad Seed is the oldest movie I've watched in a while. But hey, I'm just saying, don't sleep on old movies. Don't sleep on black and white movies. You never know what you can find out there. Well, anyway, that's my talk for this week. I hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.